Well, we're just going for this. It's been an idea for a long time, and we're gonna do a podcast, me and my wife, and we're just gonna be sharing our stories and our life and getting to know each other more through this. But at the same time, I think the level of experience and life experience and just relationships we've built, connections we've made, will be interesting for anyone to hear and to be a part of. And we want you guys to be a part of our story too. So I'm Ben Vasquez, and my wife is Ashley Vasquez. And today she just surprised me and put the camera on the tripod and said she's gonna ask me questions on the spot. None of this is rehearsed. We're just going with the flow. So here we go. So ask away, sweetie.
Okay, so I just want to say first off that I'm so proud of you and so excited to, have other people hear your journey because you've had a really cool life and you've had just amazing experiences with people from everywhere around the world and you have so much to share and so much to give and I just really admire you and I think you're amazing. So the first question is we all see your shirt says the ultimate breakdown and something I know about you is you love breakdance, you love dance. And one of the things you love is to inspire people, encourage people through movement. And so I just kind of wanted you to talk about that. Like what got you into breakdancing?
Breakdancing was introduced to me when I was 6 years old by my stepfather, James. He was a big figure in our community in upstate New York. Um, his b-boy name, his breakdance name was b-boy Image. He chose that name because his philosophy was we're all made in the image of God, and so he wanted to reflect God through his dance, and so that was b-boy Image. Um, Very foundational pillar to our community for hip hop back in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Um, I met him as just my mom's roommate originally. He was this cool guy that breakdanced, and I was fascinated by it. And he had started this program at a local recreational center that paid him to start teaching kids off the street breakdance. And so it started with me, him, and just another guy. And that grew in 1 year to over 100 kids and adults even mixed joining this thing. So it really became a movement quite quickly. So I would just get packed up in the car with them and go to the rec center that was literally basically across the street from our house. It's right down the street from our house. And we would go there and dance in the gymnasium. And I don't really think he ever directly taught me. He would like give me concepts or like kind of coach me vocal maybe like coach me, but as far as doing the moves, I just kind of got a grip on it myself, and I would just watch him do it, and I would like learn in his class setting when he taught others. But I really just kind of picked it up on my own and developed my own style very quickly. And so breakdancing very quickly became a huge part of my life, and it still is now. But um, for the next 30 years of my life, breakdancing really was at the forefront of how I chose to live my life and what I would do. And um, it even brought me to other countries to be able to exchange that culture. And so I think I answered the question, but basically, yeah, I learned breakdance because of my stepfather, who at the time was just my mom's roommate, and then they got together, fell in love, got married, and then he became a father figure to me as well. He's not just my dance teacher. He also helped me in my faith to find God.
How did you grow up? Like, explain to people, did you grow up in a well to do family? Did you grow up with, or did you grow up in the hood? Like, how did you grow up and how did that shape you as a person?
I grew up in the inner city, rough area. We have bullet holes in our house. I grew up seeing multiple men running down the street, shooting each other, chasing at each other. We had major drug dealers who lived on our street. We would, during the summer times, we would see 10, 20 cop cars lined up on the street. That was a pretty normal thing. I got jumped coming home from school before, got robbed, all that kind of stuff. So I grew up in a really rough neighborhood. And so my move, breakdance for me, that movement was a place of freedom and escape. And it was a way to also channel anger. It was an outlet for me that while I was surrounded by a lot of violence, not necessarily in my home, but outside of my home, and my friend group all came from extremely dysfunctional families. Um, Movement for me, the dance for me was something that really brought me to a place of safety and security. And it was a pastime that I did with my stepfather that I saw a side of him that was very joyful and freeing. And there's a lot that goes into the depths of that, but the dance wasn't just an outlet, but it also became a ministry for our family. And so that that security opportunity or outlet, whatever you want to call it, became available to a lot of our neighborhood kids, friends, and family. And so not just me, but a lot of young kids at the time had that ability to be able to dance. And I grew up in the culture of hip hop. Like, we started in the recreational center just with a bunch of kids off the street, but this shirt, Ultimate Breakdown, actually became a world-known breakdance event that my stepfather, and my mother put on. They were the organizers and main people that created this event. Just think about that. Like, just my mom and dad basically created a worldwide, well-known breakdance event. And so yeah, I'm just kind of rambling, I think, at this point, but
Never apologize
yeah.
for rambling, because oftentimes the best things that we hear in life come from people who think that they're rambling when in reality they're actually just sharing a divulge of interesting, beautiful things. So the second thing, to that question of like where you grew up and everything, I kind of want to go a little bit deeper with that question and just like ask like, why did you go into like traveling and wanting to make an impact with movement? Like, how did that come about?
It was modeled to me, you know. Like I said, most of my friends I grew up with, they didn't have any dads. So my biological dad wasn't around. I didn't really deeply connect with him and really know him until I was 15 years old. And so my stepfather that raised me, uh, I came from a similar background as these other kids, but he raised me with breakdance and with the Christian faith. He also kind of took in all these other kids off the street and fathered them. So, like I was saying earlier, breakdance became our ministry, and so um, we would do Bible studies at our house for these kids that were seeking refuge. And my stepdad would buy pizza for everyone, and so all these kids would come over. Yeah, we're gonna get free pizza, and then he'd be like, "After we're done, we're gonna push the couch back in the living room, and we'll have another dance session right in the house." So, after we read the Bible, and so he basically became like this street pastor for all the kids, and my mom too was heavily involved in that as well, and so they became kind of the parents of the neighborhood, and so they were a great model in a lot of ways to me of how to have a functional family. We had dysfunction as well, but compared to a lot of the kids we were bringing into the streets, my friends, my closest friends, they had their dads were locked up, murdered, drug dealers, their moms, cousins, prostitutes, really bad stuff. They lived in a house with multiple cousins, family members that were all doing criminal activity. And meanwhile, at the center of this, it's funny because our house was located in the middle of the street. We lived on a really long street, and so we were kind of right at the center of the street, and our house was the kind of epicenter for refuge for these kids to feel safe, come over, watch TV, play video games, read the Bible, eat food. And a lot of the other parents around really respected that and trusted my family with that. So,
One question I want to ask, and I don't mean to interrupt into that, but just the question of safety. And you don't have to, we can edit this out. We don't have to, answer this question and have this something publicized or anything. But you talk about this space being safe. a safe place, your house, for a lot of young kids coming over, and the ministry of like encouraging kids and stuff. But I know that for you personally, you went through a lot of stuff that didn't feel safe, outside of like these kids being in that home.
That's yeah. I mean, that's a deep thing to probably unpack, like a very vulnerable thing. My life experience was very relatable to like a pastor's kid, where my stepfather was giving out so much to the community that was exhaustive to him, spiritually, mentally, and he started to, you know, coming back home from giving out to so many people, there was things he lacked to give to us. And so, like I said, if that's just a good phrase or common example to use, I was like a pastor's kid, where it's like my stepfather was around to help me a lot and father me, but he also gave so much out to other people that he became weary and tired, and he did things that were hurtful to our family and the process of that sacrifice for others. And there was a great lack of things from my stepfather, and just a lot of dysfunction as well. The theme of my life is fathership, and I really connected with my dad when I was 15. My biological dad. My stepfather didn't meet his dad until his early 20s, and even my own mother just reunited with her dad in her 40s. So all of my parents didn't have a father, and had to become parents. And so, yeah, that as a mature man, older man, looking back at that stuff, I knew my stepfather just didn't know how to be a father all the time, and he also didn't have someone fathering him to help him with his ministry stuff. He became kind of a loner and doing things, and even rebelling against the church at times to do things that brought a lot of conflict. And again, that's just a lot of layers to what I saw modeled to me. But there was times I was safe comparably to someone who literally had their, parents snatched from them and put in prison, or drugs in front of them. Like, I never was around that stuff until I was much older, in my late teens. Like, in my house, my parents' house, we never had drugs or alcohol or any of that kind of stuff. So I was very shielded. Even though right outside of my door that existed, I had a lot of protection from those things. So.
You think that protection really helped you to kind of move in the direction that you ended up moving into? And I'm talking about like going into Bible school and kind of knowing that there's scripture verses that talk about like, teaching our kids in the way that they should go so that they don't go away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really a foundational piece of your story, is your faith. Mm-hmm. And your journey through knowing God as more than just a figure in the sky, but that he was a father to you, and that he's constantly there and he's supportive of everything that you dream of, and in fact that he gave you the dreams that you have and the gifts that you have. And then you went on to travel the world and share in those dreams and encourage other people to dream as well. I guess there's not a question there, more of like, tell me more about that.
About my traveling?
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I think I have a newer perspective on some of my traveling now, the way I've shared it in the past. Of obviously God orchestrated everything and gave me the invite to other nations, but I want to say now, as I'm just kind of processing that, I mean, I had a global experience right in my own town, because when my stepfather put on these breakdance events, we had people from other countries that would come to breakdance. And so breakdancing in general is a very global cultural thing. It's a culture of its own, really, and it's very international, very global. And so I already was getting connected at a young age to other nations just that came to us. But the real invite to go to other nations came from Bible school. And so I did seminary for 1 year. I did an accelerated Bible course program that was life changing for me. It was something that really challenged my character. I think I gained a lot of theology, like head knowledge or theology, historical knowledge from the school. But the greatest thing I learned from that school was character building, really a breaking down of pride and just understanding a relationship with God really looks like. So that's probably the greatest thing I learned there was how to hear God's voice. But yeah, I still remember vividly the day that I got the invite to go to Asia for a missions trip. And it was a longer missions trip too. It wasn't, this was 11. It was basically a year long, 11 months. It was a year long mission trip. And yeah, when those people came and shared at our school, it was almost like a career day slash like just ministries would come in and share at the school, and you had opportunities to meet these people. So when this missionary organization shared at my school, I was totally moved by it and knew right away that's what I was supposed to do. And so to keep the story short for expounding on it later, I got the invite to go to Asia while I was at Bible school, and I just went for it. I raised $12,000 very quickly. God really made that happen, and I went to Asia, and yeah, God did some crazy stuff, but He used the breakdance. Actually, was the main tool of evangelism and opportunity I had, and I met some of Asia's top breakdancers in that time I was there, and got to even lead some of them to the Lord and disciple them, baptize them, and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So
I'm excited to get into that in a later time. Yeah, that's really cool.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for being very spontaneous today and
Very
being
freestyle.
willing to talk and share a little piece of your story. And Charlie's excited for you
This
too.
is Charlie.
This is our very first podcast experience episode,
Bunch
and
of randomness, but there's a story that is told in all of that.
absolutely.
Right,
All
Charlie?
right. Well, I love you, and we out.
We out here.